Hello guys, what's up? I'm Brian here doing another video for you guys, and this time we got some more Transformers The Last Night figures revealed, and I have to credit, I'm sorry if I get your name wrong, Tomica Nang? I'm not sure if I got that right, but thank you so much for sharing the photos on Facebook. Anyways, the first thing we're going to be talking about is a follow-up to the Barricade photos. And we got new and clearer images of Barricade. As well, Barricade actually has more weapons than we thought. He has a baton and a second pistol, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm going to talk about the alt mode first. I don't think the alt mode looks really good now looking at it, mostly because of the white doors. The doors themselves don't really separate themselves well with the car, so it just looks like the white is slapped on and it doesn't look that good. Also, the Decepticon logo with the police, I don't know, just looks off to me. I do like the little logo on the side there on the wheel well, so that's pretty good. Nonetheless, I still like the alt mode, and I love the red and blue on the front of it. And as far as Barricade in his robot mode, it seems like his backpack is able to do something because from these photos, he seems like he's got less of a backpack, but it's likely that that person took the backpack off because I'm not seeing what that backpack could have transformed into. And apparently this figure is going to be a Premier Edition figure, which I feel is kind of odd, and that worries me. If this is a Premier Edition figure, what will the retail version of Barricade look like? Will he come with less weapons, or just the same? Less paint applications, or just different paint applications? Maybe he'll be in all black? Who knows exactly? But as far as this Barricade is concerned, I still like it. I think it's alright. And then for the other figures, we've got Bumblebee. Now, Bumblebee looks like garbage. This is a repaint of the Age of Extinction Deluxe class Bumblebee, and if you guys know me, you know that I love the Age of Extinction Deluxe class Bumblebee. It is my favorite movie Bumblebee to date, but they took it and completely ruined it, because this guy's paint applications just look terrible. I'm not going to talk much about the mold itself because we all know about the mold, but the paint scheme completely ruins it. First, you have this more neon yellow that just doesn't work with the toy. And second, the paint applications just suck. You got this weird black on the front of the Camaro mode that doesn't look good at all. If they took that out, I would have been fine with the Camaro mode. At least I still wouldn't have liked the yellow, but it's got this random bit of black that doesn't look good. And then when you take a look at the robot mode, the silver on the body just looks like it's slapped on. There's barely anything going on with the head except for the silver face. And then his legs look like trash. They have no black to separate itself. At least the previous Bumblebee did so, and that looked pretty good. But the only difference in the paint for the legs is the gray for the joints. That's all you get. And the silver on the back of the foot, which I believe is for the alt mode. Other than that, I just don't like the look of it. Get the Age of Extinction Bumblebee. It looks 10 times better. And then we move on to Berserker, which is definitely like the Crankcase figure. In fact, they're pretty much taking the CGI model of Crankcase from Dark of the Moon into this guy. Now, instead of just repainting the figure, they made a whole new figure for the Crankcase, well, Berserker figure. And a part of me likes it, a part of me is just kind of sketchy with it. The alt mode, I think, looks fine. You know, it has the Chevy look, or the alt mode look from the Dark of the Moon Crankcase figure, so that looks good. I will say, though, because of that, will we actually see Berserker transform into this in the movie, or they just gave him this mode because, well, pretty much he is Crankcase in a nutshell. But it's got some good paint applications. I don't mind it. The only issue is a panel seems to be off, but I don't know if they rushed the pictures or anything like that, so who knows. And then as far as the robot mode is concerned, he has a Predator look, which I really do like. But I do have my problems. First up, the gray doesn't look too good. But I do understand what they're going for, because in the trailer for Transformers The Last Night, you can see a character that looks like Crankcase, and he's got more of a gray tone to him. So I do understand why they decide to do this, but it just doesn't look that good for the figure. But I don't think it looks too bad either. I also like the blue, the red, and the orange. While it's kind of weird for the paint applications, and I wish there was more of that, I still do kind of like that. I just wish there was more paint applications to separate itself, but I do like the weapon. I do like that he has the little claws on the back, so that's pretty good. I'll say this, if you do not have a figure to place in for Crowbar, like if you don't have a second Crankcase, get this guy. Maybe he can fill in as a Crowbar. Even though he's not exactly like Crowbar, he could fit in. So with that out of the way, I do like the Berserker figure. I like the weapon, especially the weapon. I think that's cool. He's just not mind-blowing to me, but, you know, I didn't think they would make this figure. I thought they were just going to repaint a Crankcase, and they actually probably wouldn't even do that, because that figure already exists, so it's not an urgent figure to make, but at least they're making this, and I think it's fine for what it is, especially if you collect a bunch of them and call them the Viacons. I think that would be pretty cool. The Barricade, I still stand to say, I think it looks pretty good. I like the style of it. I think it looks great. I really want that Barricade. But the Bumblebee just looks like garbage. I hope that that Bumblebee is just the Premier Edition Bumblebee, and we'll get a different Bumblebee that will actually look closer to the model seen in the movie, because this one doesn't really look like that. So with that out of the way, what's your opinions? Please comment below, let me know. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those fun doodads. Thank you to, sorry if I get your name wrong again, Tomica Dahn for the photos, and I'll see you guys next time.